Of course, you see some guys that they'll actually do their shifter outside of it so they can actually put their arm out there.
I've seen that, and you know, I got looking at that. I would have done that, but I can't figure out how they get it set up so you can open and close the door.
Yeah. I'm like, that looks cool, but man, it's really unpractical.
Yeah. I've seen quite a few where they stick the steering rod right through the side and have, you know, like you got yours on the frame there, but I've seen them stick it out outside the car too.
That's a pretty good idea when they do that, and I thought about that because when you do that, you mount your steering box right here.
Right.
Right underneath the dash, so your steering shaft comes off, you know, the box for the steering wheel that far.
Yeah.
So man, you got yourself a tilt wheel. You can put that steering wheel any way you want when you do that. You just got a long drag link that runs out the side.
Yeah.
And you know, you ain't gonna get out of it. You want unless, well, I mean, even with a suicide door, but if you got the wheel cut all the way, one way, be to the right, you're not gonna open the door because the pitman arm's gonna be in the way.
I tell you another thing I saw a guy do, which kind of amazed me, is I saw him hinge his brake pedals so that his master cylinder sits that way up under the dash.
You can buy him like that.
And he's got that little bell crank thing on his pedals. I thought, whoa, that's tricky.
Yeah, Speedway has the next time I do this, I'm gonna buy. Remember the race car pedals that sit on the floor with the little master cylinders on them? That's what I'm gonna use.
That's what I got in mine. I got those pedals that are, well, they're actually welded the frame.
Yeah.
And I got a clutch, you know, in mine, obviously, which I wanted. I really wanted to have the clutch, so it was tricky. And he'll tell you because he's driven it. You know, it's tricky to get the pedals in there and then be able to mash them and get your feet down in there and work.
And I'm a little taller than him, and he set it up for him. So there's a little extra finagling with my legs in order to get the pedals.
We literally cut a lump in the dash, so his knee.
He's like, how is that? I said, I can't get my feet in there. He's like, well, let's adjust it. He said, make a mark where your legs will fit. I'm like, here, here. All right, let's cut it away. Like,
yeah, we did.
Okay.
Took a grinder out and try it now.
He's like, if you can't fit it in, what's the point? I was like, yeah, okay, good point.
Yeah, I think that manual brakes probably would have been better than power brakes because there isn't much feel to the brake pedal.
Yeah.
If you go out here on the road and step on the pedal, it's almost nothing.
Yeah.
It like locks the brakes right up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard to feel that.
Right.
And there's a lot of throw. That pedal moves that far.
Does it?
Yeah, from the very top down, it moves that much before it starts to.
Really?
It's just. And I tried shortening the throw up, but when you do that, it doesn't really release the brakes all the way. I had a hell of a time bleeding the brakes because I didn't have it so it would come back far enough.
Yeah.
I thought the master cylinder was junk. It's all brand new, but you know, you never know. And I went over to Advanced Auto Parts over here and bought another master cylinder, and I brought it back in here. Well, turns out when you buy that from Speedway, it comes just like that in the box with a master cylinder all bolted to the booster. Well, if you were to buy them two components separate, they'd be a rubber plug in there to keep it inside that vacuum canister.
Yeah.
Well, they never took the boot off, and they bolted the master cylinder to the booster with the boot still in there. So that took half a day for me to sort that out and figure out why this thing wouldn't work.
That's funny.
That's still a lot of travel for your foot.
It is. Well, you see what I did to the pedal? I ended up cutting it off, and I put a C-clamp in there.
Yeah.
And to move it down. See, that's the jar of a C-clamp, and that moves the pedal down, because if not, the pedal is so far back, I couldn't get my legs high enough up there to make it hit.
I did things like that with my pedals. I was like cutting it in half and moving it over and putting a piece back on, and you know, because you really can't tell till you get it in there, and then you get your feet in there, and then you get all in place. And it's like, okay, this has got to move. So then you have to climb out and stand on your head. And I wound up reaching in there with a grinder and sawing something off and welding something back on. And then, you know, it's trial and error.
I cut that up enough so I almost ruined the bushings in it because I got it so hot up in the top there. I kept cutting it off and moving it, and I tack it, put it in there and try it. And it really isn't about pushing the brake. It's about being able to lift your foot off the floor, lift your foot off the gas, and hit the pedal and move it. It's not about pushing it.
Because you can't drive it with your foot in the air.
Right.
Your foot needs to sit on the floor, and then you kind of work it like that, but you got to get everything set up so that you can do that. I totally remember. In fact, that's the same thing we were doing over at Dead Eyes that day when we was cutting pedals and stretching them and shortening them, and
the gas pedal. I ended up. I saved the gas pedal from the old beer truck when we took it apart. And, I used the bottom of the pedal, but I didn't end up using the rest of it because it was rusted. The way it pivoted. I just took and used the Maverick, that's from Ford Maverick, that old gas pedal assembly, and just welded the end off the other one, you know, off in the old truck one.
Yeah.